I'm glad someone else.
That joke's never gonna get old.
I was just hoping someone else would pick up on that.
I got it this time.
This time. How
This
many
time.
episodes does it take for someone to do that?
I don't know. I lost track.
Yeah.
And as always, your faithful team of movie reviewers are here. We have Isaiah,
Hello.
Tim,
Hi.
Mel, and Bray.
Yay!
You look
I'm not a
surprised
movie
at that.
reviewer. Is that what I'm doing here?
Professional. Didn't you know?
I can't handle expectations.
We're getting
No,
paid
we're
for
20
this.
episodes deep. You've got to sit down. We need
How do I get out of here?
We need this.
Oh my God.
No. These days we're not getting paid for this. Is how you tell the professional reviewers from the non-professional.
Oh, hey.
Right? Disney?
Oh. So today we're talking about Spawn.
Disney?
I can't help but notice that this is a little bit off.
Oh,
There's two characters over here.
Get to the chopper!
there we go. Okay, excellent.
Oh!
We watched Spawn!
We did, yeah, the 1997 version with Michael J. White in anticipation of the Todd McFarlane version that is coming out.
Coming out soon.
This
Starring,
year.
This year, yeah.
Jamie Kennedy. Or Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Kennedy as Spawn.
As Spawn.
Yeah.
The Mask 2 coming out.
Mask 3.
Oh, wow.
It's like the crossover between Spawn and the Mask that we've all wanted.
I've been waiting on that for like 2.5 minutes.
So as you can see,
The
Spawn,
anticipation.
Spawn really left an impression on us. That's oh, there we go.
He killed the Red Ranger.
Oh,
The first Red Ranger.
but let's throw it out there. What do we like about this Spawn movie? We went in. We were pretty dubious. Tim and I had seen the movie before. Isaiah and Mel, it was
I'd never seen
your first time.
I've never seen it.
But it was like a decade ago, right? For you.
for me, yeah, it was.
And
about a
for me,
decade
it was
ago.
like, I think I caught the back half on like a Space Channel or something kind of thing, and maybe stuck through most of it. I
yeah,
was probably like vacuuming.
cool. So whilst vacuuming and
Domesticated 10 years ago, weren't you?
and now sitting here and watching it, what did you like about this movie, Tim?
Yeah, well, for the era, like before we like put it in the context of the larger like you know
Which I did on the podcast.
which we did,
Yeah.
with all the other movies that came out in 1997. But you know, it wasn't horrible. I expected it to be way more violent, so I liked that it was more of like a 14A movie dressed up as an R.
Yeah.
We theorized it might have just been a studio, you know, New Line choice to keep kids away from it entirely. But it wasn't even that tasteless. It was just not that compelling.
Okay, but what'd you like?
What did I like? I like the performances. Who was his wife? Do we know who the actress was?
Melinda Clarke.
Melinda
I
Clarke.
looked that up before.
Her performance in the movie was great.
Oh
For the-
wait, no, sorry. You're talking about Spawn's wife.
Spawn's wife.
Sorry, no, I was talking
Melinda
about.
Clark's from the OC.
Yeah, I was talking
Right.
about Agent Priest in the
Right.
movie.
Well, anyway, there were a few standout performances.
Sorry.
We
Are
killed
we
them.
safe?
Killing people.
We're never safe.
not with this set around.
Yeah, I don't know. I liked that it was a unique character that was, you know, created. This is, you know, an independent brand, right? Like Todd McFarlane created the character we said in what, 1992?
92.
92.
Yeah. May of 92 was his first appearance.
So this wasn't Marvel. This wasn't DC. Not the big two. You know, and that in and of itself was kind of interesting as a choice. This was before X-Men 2000. This was before Blade even started the modern era of comic book movies or the resurgence. I don't know how we break down those eras yet. It's pre-Watchmen still. And
So sorry, what
pre-MCU.
did you like about the movie?
I like that it was a movie. Had some songs and noises. You know what? It wasn't that bad. Michael J. White was pretty good. The costumes were great.
You like the colour green too.
I
there was
did.
a lot of
Yes.
There was a lot of green.
Oh, that
Yeah.
Spawn costume? Hot damn.
It just
that
didn't
was
make
cool.
enough green,
That
I
was
think
cool.
was the problem.
Not
with the box
enough
office.
green. Okay.
Yeah, the Spawn costume was great.
It was good.
Yeah.
It had, for its era, I mean, he could turn his head, we discussed.
That's important.
It is, but Batman couldn't turn his head until
No.
pretty recently in the grand scheme.
Oh man, and the cloak. I think the cloak was probably my favorite part of it. Like every time that was on screen, it was phenomenal. Really, really. Cool.
Yeah, I didn't even care about what was going on at that
No,
point. I
no.
just was like, oh.
Yeah. It just kind of like takes your
So
eye and you're just like,
fantastic.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was very signature Todd McFarlane, right?
yeah.
And he's a Vancouver boy, and I think this was filmed in Vancouver, so we like that. So it's more hits than misses. John Leguizamo is a great actor. For whatever reason, he stands out as the more memorable part of this movie for me. But like after seeing it recently, he's like in a different movie that's running parallel to this. So unfortunately, like he's not the standout actor in this film. I just wish there was some set piece and stuff. We'll get to that, but all in all,
You're bringing our positive segment down, Tim.
Yeah, what's going on?
What we like.
What's going on?
What we like.
I enjoyed it more than
We're
some.
semi-professional, don't you know?
Wow,
We know how to stay on
We're on the
topic.
cusp of professional.
cusping away.
Cusping.
You know what? Then I'll just save it. But all in all, it wasn't unbearable. Like a Band-Aid.
Mel,
Good, but also bad.
we have a minute 45 to get through the
Okay.
three of us. So
I quite enjoyed. I was gonna go negative now. I kind of enjoyed the sweetness between him and his daughter, and then the dog just being like doing what dogs do best and just like loving unconditionally. I kind of thought that was a sweet little aside that was probably needed a bit more of in the movie.
a bit more exploration,
More
right?
More dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isaiah?
I'll be succinct. I liked some of the visuals. I liked that Spawn costume. I think it's been mentioned already. Like, the head was a little bit big. I think Michael Jai White's proportions are a little bit wrong for the character, because Spawn is more of a Spider-Man-y, lean, tall character, but the suit looked great. It really did. And, honestly, I expected to absolutely hate it, and I didn't. That's kind of...
Alright.
It was surprising, so I like that about it.
Nice. Oh god, I have so little time. Martin
35
Sheen's,
seconds.
Martin Sheen's voice,
Yes.
just fantastic, so gravelly.
Just the voice?
His stubble as well, just stole the show whenever it was on there. Gotta have a very special mention to the cock blocking scene,
Oh my
where the
gosh.
belt just like comes out and grabs Priest's leg. Beautiful. I mentioned the cloak, the costume.
I'm not sure what they were going for there.
With what? The
the-
cock block?
The blocking cock.
The blocking cock?
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like it was good. As Tim mentioned in our podcast, there was kind of... Damn it!
Damn it!
Finish your thought.
I can't finish it. It's done. It's done. We gotta move on. We gotta...
Hey!
Alright.
All the things.
All the things, indeed.
And more.
And more.
And all.
And more. So this movie was not necessarily well received. Isaiah, you were saying it's pretty hated online, hey?
Well, whenever I see it mentioned, it's like people just revile this movie.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we can all agree we sort of understand some of the reasons why it's a little bit reviled, hey? So should we delve into that a little bit?
Might I start?
Of course.
Oh,
please do.
I think it's like sort of touched on before, but as much as I love John Leguizamo, that character just didn't work in this movie.
So wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about, like everything, every choice of like the dialogue and like what he was doing was great, but I was like, you are not in this movie.
He ate bugs for
I
this
think
movie, right?
if I
Yeah.
saw him just like on his own doing a bit,
Yeah.
like on YouTube or something, I'd be like, haha, yeah, funny character.
Yeah, he was doing stand up in the middle of a Spawn movie. And I didn't really understand where that was coming from.
And they were dated references.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
So many references.
The visual
Come on.
effects, as much as I don't want to hate on it, Fifth Element came out the same year. The vis effects in Hell were just awful. His cape was good, but oof. And like I think Michael Jai White, at that point in his career, wasn't good enough to carry a movie. And I think that's like my biggest problem. Was like he was kind of bland. The villain was too over the top, and some of the visuals are just like, ugh. It's just like it looks like you're looking at a PS1 cutscene.
right. Well, it's like they filmed on like another movie's budget, like in the B-roll. Like, because this is what I was saying about the set pieces. Like, there was no, like you mentioned, the Gothic church spires and stuff, but it's like, well, that was on the Daredevil set, or the Crow, and like they did it better. Like, I need some good, memorable rides to get on at the Disneyland movie that we're watching, and this wasn't it. And
I would
like even
I don't
hell
wanna get into this.
wasn't. It was like cliffs and some lava, like the most basic level. Like they could have really designed some like intellectual torments for the character. He could have like, what is a hell? Is it like he could have been like thirsty and
What's
trying to
his
reach
hell?
right,
Yeah.
right, and get into the
Like
psychology of it.
Tantalus.
Right. You know, trying to bend down and get water or push a rock up a hill or
watching
like
his wife and daughter get continually like
older and
Oh.
age without him, right? And then like it's his daughter's like graduation suddenly and then it's
so then
his,
when he gets back and he's in like able to reach them.
right. Right?
It's more
So there could have been
build-up.
more personal
Maybe.
hell instead of just like the very basic understanding of what we thought. It was the PSOG PlayStation OG Fire and Brimstone, right?
Well, I think they were trying to, as much as this was like this character isn't necessarily got a lot of renown by this point in time in the age of the character, right? So I feel like, as is a want to happen, like the studio, instead of going niche with it, was wanting to appeal to a wider audience. So that probably is what contributed to there not being those memorable kind of iconic things that you're talking about.
As a result, though, it just kind of flies right down the middle. Like that was sort of my sense too. It was like it
Yeah.
wasn't offensive. It wasn't like memorable. It's too bad. Like the only reason I remember the movie is because of Spawn. Right? It's like, oh, it's Spawn. It's the only Spawn movie. Well, at the time, now I guess there's 2 animated Spawn movies and stuff. But
There's a few. There's an animated there's a couple of animated series, I think. There's one which I love, which is very much just focuses on that alley, and it's dark and it's depressing, and you just see like. I know you laugh at that, right?
Yeah,
but
no wonder you love it.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like it delves into the psyche of this character. Spawn is this morose, like, watcher. He's like a gargoyle that's kind of, looking over everything, and you feel the torment that this character has gone through. I feel like we were really missing that in this movie. That would be the biggest thing that I would say, is it's not dark enough. By the end, even Spawn and Cogliostro are making quippy one-liners to each other, and I feel like like your point on Michael Jai White. I think at the start he was actually doing really well with the despair and everything, but then I feel like the movie flips about 3/4 of the way through, and suddenly we're becoming more of a one-liner, shticky, like action movie.
yeah, it was Lethal Weapon quips, right?
We're getting too old for this shit.
I think that
That's
was
like-
my biggest kind of deterrent from the movie, because I really honestly didn't enjoy it very much.
You don't say.
You're
No.
also very quiet the entire movie, which is
But I was trying to figure it
kind of an
out.
indication that you're not really liking the movie.
No, you got
is
it
that
right
what
away.
I do? I'm always quiet. I just hate them all.
But you can hear
It's like you're trying to figure it out, so you're just
Yeah.
don't really say much.
Oh, I'm having a great conversation with my head.
It needed more dogs.
More dogs. That's always
Need
my.
more spasms.
That is what I do say that a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
but you were saying?
I didn't know what I was watching. Like, was it a comedy or was it like a dark, gritty, like soul crushing piece, or
It was
like
about
I didn't know what I was
93 minutes.
investing in. Yeah, and then I don't know. I think I said it when we were watching it. Just it could have been so good,
Yeah.
and it wasn't, and it was kind of disappointing.
You know
Yeah.
what, like, Drop Dead Fred, if they'd done elements
Love
of
it.
that, like, that's more of, like, her hell, her torment, and you see her, like, her despair and her depression, that sort of elements,
Well,
like...
and they went all the way. They didn't shy away from what it was
Right.
that it is.
And that dynamic is the same as
Good
Violator and Spawn,
Yeah.
right?
It just felt very confused and muddy.
Oh, we gotta watch it.
There was a lot of, you kind of touched on it, Isaiah, John Leguizamo's character and the dialogue. I think there's a lot of self-aware dialogue with the pop culture references and stuff as well. I almost felt like some of that dialogue should have been like straight down the barrel, you know, because they were clearly, he was talking to us as the audience. He wasn't talking to anyone else but himself. I think you brought this up, Mel, during the commentary. That he was the funny guy, but we didn't have a straight guy. Like, I think it would have been very interesting if maybe Violator and Martin Sheen's character had a little bit more of a continuing dynamic as opposed to seeing them separate.
It
all
was
the
like
time,
he was
you
this
know?
crazy character that everyone was just like, who's this crazy character? And there was no one that was actually like, oh no, this is a real person that, you know, deserves interacting with.
Yeah. Even
In a
the
real sense.
even the asides with the devil Maglibot or Maglibot.
Globally?
Yeah.
I think so.
Gallipoli?
Gallipoli, yeah. With
That like 8 minutes gets faster every time.
It does. Wah wah. Got nothing. Okay.
This is the scary part.
This
Time
is
to
the
rate this
And
movie.
now
Yeah.
the part you've
Oh.
all been waiting for.
Dun dun dun. Okay. What's our
So-
system? Because we're consistent. Always very, very,
Inconsistent.
very inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Consistent about our inconsistency.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. So we're gonna
But
find
as
something.
always, we counted on you for coming through in a pinch.
That's true. Mel does have a very good track record for coming up with some great rating systems. So Mel, you want to let us know what our system is today?
Well, I don't know if anybody recalls, those of you that did watch at home, there's a name that Spawn gets
Ooh.
called.
Oh,
It was very uncalled for. And,
crispy.
no, not Crispy Crispy.
Oh, that's a
Any
shame.
others?
Not that one.
No?
Did it make you shrivel up a little bit?
Was it? I got nothing.
Scrotum face.
Oh, there we go. So scrotum faces or scrotum heads? Is that what are we gonna make it a head? We're gonna
Faces.
We're gonna
Faces.
keep it faces. Okay, sorry, I'm gone outside the box. there.
Scrotum face.
Did we
I'm
go all
sorry.
the way in googly
It doesn't get
scrotum
anywhere.
face?
Doesn't
Now I need to get some googly eyes. And so,
I got some you can borrow. All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Who
You-
feels particularly strongly and wants to kick it? Are you thinking?
Well, I'm gonna go one.
Oh, one
Just
one
one.
scrotum face.
Actually, because I just reminded me talking about this, about all the crassness and stuff, which, you know, I'm all good for like a funny jokes here and there, but I felt like a lot of the humor relied on just crassness and like I say, a joke here and there is good, but it was just like consistent. It's just in your face, some might say.
Like no, I'm not gonna go there. I'm
No.
sorry. I'm gonna stop
No,
right there.
probably best.
Yeah,
so just
yeah.
one.
Okay,
Just one.
okay.
I
So
really did enjoy it.
one scrotum face. Wow. Okay. Well, Tim, you're sitting next to Mel, so let's keep this ball train rolling.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would again on rewatch, but I've been pretty harsh on some of the other movies. I'll go one scrotum face as well. You know what? I was expecting to give it less. It held up in enough parts. You know what? Like, if there were some set pieces... What did I say if you were waiting in line for the bathroom at a house party and
Yeah.
this was on?
Yeah, and you saw John Leguizamo's
Out of context.
things out of context. Yeah, you were really selling it hard on that.
I was trying to, but I can't even sell myself. One scrotum face.
Yeah.
one scrotum face.
You probably can't even fully see the TV when you're in line for the bathroom. You just kind of like
You hear
anyway,
part of it,
You hear,
and it
yeah, you hear
muffles
more
out.
of it. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know, but you know what? The Jamie Foxx Spawn movie is gonna kick ass, right?
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that. I'm not gonna set the bar too high.
I think Jeremy Renner's been cast in there as well. He's going to play like Twitch or something.
Oh, that's great
It should
casting.
be cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Plus, Todd McFarlane's part of it. Like, you know, when you've got the creator involved.
Who
like,
else?
that's-
Jeremy Renner and what? Like John Goodman or something? Who would you cast?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be good?
Yes. Yes. JJ. I would go
yes,
for that.
yes.
I would definitely go for that. That'd be awesome. Jeremy Renner can do comedy. John
Yeah,
Goodman
yeah.
as well. You know,
And he can play
good.
dark. He can
Yeah,
play both,
yeah,
right?
I think for me this movie was like kind of like one of those ones like kind of straight down the middle, where it's like I see the good and I see why it's not loved. So I would go 2.5 scrotum faces, just like straight down the middle. It's not. It's just kind of like it's like that '90s level of like they didn't really know what they were doing when they made the movie. They were like, this is what a comic book movie is. It was like it's kind of hard edged for a comic movie in the '90s too. So they tried something, but yeah, there's a lot of things holding it back from being like great
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
without it being like necessarily like the worst thing I've ever watched. So.
Yeah, it's not offensive. But, like, don't show your kids.
Yeah.
Or people you like.
Okay, so we got 2.5.
Don't watch this on a first date.
Sorry,
Don't watch
Mal.
this on a first date. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
That's probably not a bad thing to say.
That means you don't like any of us?
No. It's part of the job. I mean,
You know, ever
take
since
on
you-
certain risks.
Ever since you lost your beard, Tim, my God, what happened to you? You used to be cool.
Evil Tim.
He's in the house.
Slick and smooth. Like an android's bottom.
Star Trek.
Okay, so my all right. I enjoyed this movie. I definitely think I didn't enjoy it as much the first time round. But I did come away wanting to know more about who Spawn was the first time I watched it. I remember diving way too deep into Wikipedia and Googling about Spawn after this and learning a lot more about the character and everything. And I was really intrigued by that and kind of then a little bit let down by what was in the movie. But second time through, I thought, for 97 and doing something different. I think you mentioned at one point in time, Tim, it's not one of the big two. It's not Marvel, it's not DC. I feel like they had a take on it. They tried to do something ambitious with the visual effects as well. Granted, we believe they ran out of money, so they weren't able to fully realize their vision. But there was some really good stuff in there too. And I think as an introduction to the character, I really liked it. So I'm going to give it 3.5 scrotum
Wow,
faces.
that's high.
Yeah.
I must admit that I feel I was nicer on this movie just because of what we've done in this series, where it's like I've seen so much worse in
Oh,
the
yeah.
comic book genre than what I just watched.
Yeah,
That
I
is
agree.
true.
I agree, and I think we kind of check out our commentary track as well if you want to hear some of our thoughts there. But we kind of touched on, this happened, then Blade happened, then X-Men. I feel like even though this didn't kick the door open, I feel like it nudged it open a little bit so that some of the older audiences saw this and kind of went, "Oh, okay, comic book movie."
It was more like it opened a back window. It was like a sliding glass door.
Is there a draft here?
Right, a draft, because this wasn't kid friendly, and that's where I think it might have.
This was like a growing pain.
Yeah.
It was a growing pains movie, absolutely.
Necessary, maybe?
Maybe a cool breeze kind of blew the kitty flap, so it just kind of
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just
But no dog, just
no dog.
flap in
yeah,
the wind.
just flap, just
Kitty
flap.
flap.
No dog. Yeah.
Well, this is our favorite part of the podcast, typically.
yes.
Right?
Oh my god, I haven't even formulated a thought about this yet, honestly.
You could almost just pull anything out of your ass and it will be better. But do you want a minute?
I'm gonna need
I
a
could
minute.
start.
I'm gonna need a minute for this one.
Okay, let me
Yeah,
start.
go for it, Tim.
It's
It's the pitch. All right. I didn't think too much and long and hard about this, but you know who we were talking about, like the Violator character in the John Leguizamo Spawn, and just I'll bring a little bit in here from Superman. Richard Donner's Scrooged with Bill Murray. Do you remember the taxi driver that was like, "Hey, which floor?" And he's the ghost of Christmas Past. Do you remember that guy?
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember.
Right,
that
and he's
guy,
smoking
yeah.
the cigars, and he's like, "You're dead!" And then he's walking through the doors, and he's laughing at him. That's like what I thought he was trying to do with the Spawn, with the Violator clown character. And it was like almost that performance, but not. And I would have liked to see more of that, like if they'd done more A Christmas Carol. And so I wanted to see Spawn's personal hell. So he's in hell and he's back and he doesn't even know it, and wait, was he dead? He's in the alley. All these like bait and switches that they did, it was unnecessary. What they should have had was he's stuck in there, or he has to earn his way out of hell, and it's like, I would have liked to see like more like a Cube, and he goes from like room to room earning his way out, or he's here in this part, or he's back as a young man, and we see like it's his childhood, part of that, it's his parents' relationship, that's his hell. Then it's like, okay, he's off, he's fighting a war in North Korea, he's the spy, he's in, you know, you could have seen a lot more of these elements from his past and get to know the character that way. And that's stuff, they never got into the psychology. And at the end, when they pointed out here, there was like the entire army all looked just like Spawn. It was like the character was just as equally interchangeable. Why was this guy the devil's general? Why was he
chosen?
Why was he the guy?
Yeah.
And that's the story I wanted to see, that I'm sure is in the comics and stuff.
That would have been really cool, because you could have seen the way that the devil broke Alan Simmons,
Right,
to
and
become
Spawn.
Spawn and say yes, as opposed to just having that one scene of being like, if you want to see Wanda again, lead my army.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because maybe he was the one that he was able to break, and
yeah.
have him make that agreement or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
And how he broke him, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
more of like the Torment of Tantalus or the Sisyphus
Yeah.
pushing the rock. And you could have customized that to that character. Like, you know, Michael Jai White is like a professional. How many? 7 black belts?
7 black belts.
Maybe he was like, had to fight a bunch of guys, and we saw him in like a blood sport kind of thing, building his way up
Like
through the
that.
military. How he became the special ops guy.
Was it the 7 levels of Shaolin or whatever? it
Right?
is?
And the 7 levels of hell you could have done as well.
Is
Like,
it 7 or was it 13? I can't remember.
I don't know. But whatever it is, the 7th seal you could have done. You could
Could be
have
12.
put a lot more stuff in there that I just thought the fantasy elements and the mythology with the psychology is what this movie was really missing. This isn't meant to be an action movie. And then, you know what, you could have had that, even the character, like I'm going to slightly spoil Batman 89, not the plot or anything, but
I read a novelization of it. It's okay.
so there's a character Knox, right? He's the journalist that Vicky Vale is working with. But I mean, even that, it's like a Sam and Twitch. Like, he's certainly not the driving force of Batman 89, but he's like our kind of Jimmy Olsen. He's a grounded character. And then we could have followed Sam and Twitch, can just kind of, maybe Spawn is murdering specific people or trying to enact the devil's plan that way, and you could have followed, you know, on Earth, you know, as above, so below, right? And some of that, but, that's what I would have tried to do.
I totally agree playing with the psyche more, and it's probably not a surprise coming from me, but I would have loved to see more play with the dynamic between him and his family before he went to hell. Because I felt like we sort of jumped right into the movie, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you've got these things that you really love back on Earth, and we're like, what?
Then we never
You
met
ha-
them.
You have a family?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you care about them? I don't, like, if you
We
cared
didn't.
about them, I thought we would have seen them, or, yeah, exactly, like, I didn't know them, how could we care about them?
Yeah.
So to kind of play with that a bit more, yeah.
Like Natalie Portman's character in Annihilation. How, remember, like, her husband's gone, and that's all doled out slowly and kind of flashback and stuff. You guys saw it?
I haven't
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
spoil it. Never
Yeah.
mind. Go watch Annihilation. I won't spoil
I've
it.
heard really good things. I'm looking forward to watching
And I would have been curious to play around with the idea also of, is it Wanda, the wife?
Wanda, yeah.
Wanda?
Yeah.
To have her actually have an inkling or an idea or a notion that that's her husband as well earlier on, like
Yeah,
quite early,
yeah.
to have more conflict.
She could have been
For her?
torn with the
Yeah.
current husband that she's
Yeah.
got, and like it's his old buddy, and now that.
I mean, I feel like they tried to do that. They did plant the seed of, like she was saying to Win, he knows my name and everything. So I feel like they
but
wanted to
there
plant the
was more of
seed,
a s-
but
she was doing. I felt like her intent there was more like crazy stalker dude knows my name.
Yeah. I agree with you. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like they planted the seed, but they didn't go back
like
to
for her
her.
to start
They didn't
Yeah,
water
they didn't go
Yeah,
back to her
I
to
guess
let that grow.
Because I'm a romantic. I think I just wanted her to like the dog just knew, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I think that would have actually worked really well. I agree with you. I think that
Yeah.
would have been nice to see because you know, yeah. Anyway,
When she
point's
did
been
go
made.
full evil too, her performance
Oh,
was
it's
great.
so good.
She's
I loved
She might
it.
have been the best actor in the movie.
Yeah.
I think my only pitch for this movie, because I know nothing about Spawn, is I think it was actually even brought up, so it's not even my own idea, in the commentary, to like kind of make it like it was Twitch and who?
Sam
and Twitch.
Sam and Twitch. Yeah.
Like you kind of see the movie through their eyes.
Yeah.
And then Spawn is like almost an incidental character.
Yeah.
Whereas like he's in the movie and he's like essentially the driving force of the movie, and like you do follow Spawn, but like have them be the introduction of the world, have them be like the ones that ask the questions. Oh, why do you look the way you do? That sort of thing. And also, I don't know how you would work that into also building his, but like maybe not. Maybe you don't tell the story of him and his wife. Like maybe it's like 10 years after he became Spawn.
That would have been
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Just
Yeah.
pick up
he's
Sam.
been doing it for a
Yeah.
while, and like all of that stuff with the devil is background to the story with the clown that they're telling right now.
Yeah.
And you don't need the clown. You have like Al Simmons be like a scarred homeless guy who has kind of a relationship with Twitch or something, right?
Well, I believe that is what the McFarlane version is going to be. Spawn is a force of nature in his movies. That's his words exactly. Is he wants him to be this omnipresent thing that you never isn't really a character in the film. He's more someone that comes in, does some shit, and then leaves. And then we're going to deal with more of human characters
Well, it's like
that will drive us through.
The Joker
So-
in The Dark Knight is not necessarily even. He's a tornado.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a hurricane. He's not really like a character per se.
I agree.
He's got no background. He's got like a couple of character traits, and like Heath Ledger plays him brilliantly. But like that's how Spawn should be, just like oh my god, what the fuck kind of thing.
Yeah.
It just like pops into the movie, and then it's like, oh, it's all of a sudden supernatural.
Mm.
Like you even start like a murder mystery detective noir where they're like investigating like a murder.
Ritualistic kills or
Ritualistic,
something.
like
Yeah.
demon kill, and then
Like
Spawn
X-Files.
gets in part of it. Yeah, like make it an X-Files.
But just a movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
but not like the X-Files movies. Make it like an episode, but into a movie,
Yeah.
right? But,
Knowing nothing about the character, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. I think the thing that that really strikes me with this movie is I think if you're gonna do a 18+ movie, it needs to feel like an 18+ movie.
Yeah.
This to me, especially on the second watch through, I did not feel like there was enough violence, there wasn't enough swearing, there wasn't enough themes to warrant the rating that it had. Aside, we did discuss on the commentary track a few phrases that were thrown out there, which maybe for safety's sake is
Scrotum
why,
face.
scrotum face in particular.
it's a biological term.
So I mean,
Can you imagine all like teachers at school? Why are
On the
these
playground,
kids
that was the
calling
new
everyone
thing.
scrotum face.
You stole my Pikachu, you scrotum face.
So for me, I think I would take the family out of it. I didn't feel like the family was necessary. I think you need to. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times. I think this character is dark, so go dark with it. He needs to not have human attachments. We need to see Spawn as I mentioned the cartoon earlier. I feel like this character needs to be a lot more drawn down in despair, and then it's what brings him out of that despair to be Spawn and be the gatekeeper of hell, who keeps hell's minions and demons at bay. Like that's more of what I wanted to see.
I do think one or the other, like go origin or like go way away from it.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
If it were like 10 years after, who says his family like couldn't have had a life for another 10 years and then they get roped in somehow, horribly murdered and killed? But we don't know that yet. And so like maybe this devil
Maybe
has their
that's the murder-
soul.
Maybe that's the murder mystery that
He's
Sam
trying to get
and
them to
Twitch
solve.
Are like investigating the murder
Yeah.
of his family 10 years after he died.
I would
that's
love
what-
to see that, yeah.
Right?
I would love to see the family get killed and see what that does to someone.
We're
I
just
would
gonna
love to
clip
see the
that
family get
out.
killed.
We're just gonna
Right
clip
on,
that out.
Yeah, no, but like in all
I know what you
seriousness,
mean.
for this character, I
Yeah.
feel like, you
No,
know,
for this
if you're
character,
gonna,
it's
if you're
just
gonna
dark
go
enough.
there,
It's
like
just dark
go
enough.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, like.
Oh, hi. Thanks for watching Back Issues. You can like, share, subscribe, and we got links in the bio for you. If you want some more Back Issues, 'cause I know I do, just check us out. We got heaps more.